Here we have questions 5 through 8 of the November 2013 Higher Tier Calculator paper. So an exchange rate question, another classic for our calculator paper. Again, two different methods that we can use to do this, so I'll just split my screen in two. Okay, so let's start with the fact that the camera costs £285. Now I know that £1 is worth $12.30. So I could head this up. Well, if £1 is worth $12.30, if I multiply that by 285, I find out what 285 pounds is worth in dollars. Now doing that gives me 3,505.50. Now we want to know how much cheaper the camera is in Hong Kong than it is in London. How much cheaper? So I now need to do a subtraction to work out the cost difference between the price of the camera in London and the price of the camera in Hong Kong. So I need to do 3505.50 subtract 3179.55. And again, tapping away on my calculator, I find out that my answer is $325 and 95 cents. So this is in Hong Kong dollars. So that's one solution. Now a different solution would be to work the problem entirely into pounds. So to do this, I can take my $3,179.55 and convert that back into pounds. Now to do that, I need to divide by $12.30. So I need to see how many lots of $12.30 will fit into this, because that will tell me how many pounds fit into this amount. And doing so, my calculator tells me that that is 258.5, or 50 because we're talking in pounds. So now again I can find out how much cheaper the camera is in Hong Kong by doing 285 subtract $258.50, which leaves me with £26.50. Both of these solutions are correct. Okay, both of these solutions are correct. They may look different, but it's because this one is in dollars and this one is in pounds. If we were to multiply this answer by 12.30, we would get this answer, and vice versa, if we were to divide this answer by $12.30, we would get this answer. Either is acceptable. In this question we're given quite a lot of information, and it can sometimes be tricky to think about how best to deal with this information. So, where should we start? Well, we know that there are a total of 130 adults. We knew that there were 96 women. Therefore I can very quickly work out that there are 34 men. Now I know that these women and men study different language courses. I know that they have a choice of studying French, Spanish and German. 12 of the women study French. So here are my women, and I'm going to put women that study French here. 55 of the women study Spanish. So here I have my women, this is my women that study Spanish, this is going to be 55. I know that 9 of the men study German. So here's my men, here is my German, so 9 of my men study German. I'm also told that a total of 73 adults study Spanish, so I know that this row will add up to a total of 73. Now I can work out that I need an extra 18 men, 55 plus 18 gives me 73, to study Spanish. Now I also know that I have a total of 34 men. Well, 9 plus 18 is 27 of the men, so I already know about 27 of the men. How many does that leave me over? Well, that leaves me with another 7 men. Equally, I can work out the total number of women that study German, although that's not relevant to me in this problem. What I'm interested in is how many of the adults study French. So I want to know what this total is, and I can very easily work that out now as 19. As with a lot of these questions, sometimes it's just knowing a sensible way to write things down that really helps us. So what we can do is use this idea of having a two-way table. This way I've got information about gender. This way I've got information about languages. And by setting my work out like this, I'm able to see how that data comes together a lot more easily. Question 7, back to one of my favourites, as it's our age-old question of how much for 1, where we're looking to work out best value. We know that we can get 30 for this, we can get 40 for this, 50 for this. We need a direct way of comparing them. So I want to ask myself, how much for 1? Well, if 30 plants cost me £6.50, I know if I divide my £6.50 equally between those 30 plants, I will find out the cost of just one plant, which comes out to be 0.216 recurring. That's the first one done. Now on to the second, the medium tray. Well, in much the same way, I'm going to divide the £8.95 that it would cost me for all 40 equally between the 40 plants to find out that the cost for one plant is going to be 0.22375. One more to go, and as you could probably guess, I'm going to share the 10.99 equally between the 50 plants, making each plant worth 0.2198. Now I've got the cost of the individual plants. This is one plant. I can see whether it is cheaper to buy 30, 40 or 50. Now immediately I can see that this one is out, and comparing again, this one is ever so slightly cheaper. So it is slightly cheaper to buy 30 plants than it is to buy 40 or 50. So my final answer needs to be written down clearly, because this is an asterisk question. I've shown my working, and I'm going to say I would choose the 30 plants as they are cheapest. Always good to ask ourselves how much for one. Now, question number 8, a little sequences question. So writing the rule for a sequence, first of all we want to find out what we're adding on each time, and that difference is 7. And because I'm adding on 7 each time, my rule starts 7. I then put down my n. Now I go back 7. What came before the 3? Minus 4 came before the 3. 3 subtract 7 takes me to minus 4. Minus 4. So here's my rule. 7n minus 4. For the second part of this question, we need to work out whether 150 is a term in the sequence. Now, a lot of people just like to sit there and keep adding on 7 and keep adding on 7 until they get there. We must clearly explain how we got to our answer. So if you are going to do that method, you are going to need to write down every single term all the way up to 150. So you're going to need to write down the 24, and then you're going to need to write down 31, and then 39, and then so on and so on and so on, and show that eventually you do end up with 150. Now, that's fine, but it is going to take you a little bit of time. So let's think if there's anything else we can do. Well, how about using our rule? If 7n minus 4 were equal to 150, then I would know that 7n would be equal to 154. Now dividing both sides by 7, I would find out that n is equal to 22. So I know that the 22nd term in this sequence is 150. So this is me showing and explaining that yes, 150 is in the sequence. Thanks for watching. Coming up next, 9 through 12.